Good afternoon and welcome back to Morgan Hill Farms. We have been busy as bees here, just kind of keeping up with what we've got going on in the garden and preserving and school and everything else. I've gotten a lot of my fall crops in, but right now, because we are so warm, I really have to watch them closely, and I'm also watching for bug pressure. But luckily, once the temperatures start to drop a little bit, these things will get really well established. The bugs will kind of taper off, and then it's going to be easy sailing from then on. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. I hope you guys have been busy as well, preserving as much as you can, kind of preparing and, making sure that you're keeping track of what you have and what you need. Hopefully y'all had a better weekend than I did. I ended up going into my freezer this weekend and found that the milk that I had frozen in there had all thawed out. And I kind of, looked around and saw that there was a little bit of water in the bottom. Some of my meat in there was thawing out. And then I checked the temperature in the refrigerator, and that was at 60 degrees. So both my refrigerator and freezer were not working. And we got everything pulled out of there and put into some freezers into the garage. I do have a smaller fridge in the garage, but it's pretty small. So I kind of whittled down what I didn't need and tried to get everything preserved in the fridge that I could, and then threw the excess into that little fridge. And so that's pretty packed. But my initial thought was just to run to Lowe's and buy a new refrigerator. About 8 years ago, I bought a fridge at our old house, and that cost me $2,900. And when I start to consider the fact that, these appliances don't last very long, and, do I really want to throw thousands of dollars at a new appliance? No, the answer is no. I think that money will serve us much better kind of staying where it's at. So I did a little bit of research on YouTube, and I'm pretty sure I know what the problem is. I think it's the relay for the compressor. So I went ahead and ordered those parts for about $100, and I'm hoping and praying that I will be able to fix this refrigerator. So right now it's just an empty fridge. I'm just putting ice in it. It's like an ice box like back in the day. So it is keeping things slightly cool, just some veggies and things that I have in there that don't need to be kept super, super cold. So I'm hoping that when that comes in a few days, I can fix that. We had to do the same thing with our dishwasher a couple months back when it stopped draining. We had to disassemble the drain assembly, and I found a piece of glass in there in the impeller, and so I got that out, put it back together, and it's working again. But it's just kind of my initial thought, and I think probably a lot of people think like that, like, oh, what a hassle. I'm just going to go down and buy another one and get it delivered tomorrow. But I really have to hold myself back and remember the economy and the world chaos and everything else, and kind of just say, I'm going to suffer through it for a few days, and I'm going to see what I can do without spending this huge amount of money. And then on top of that, my minivan has a huge leak, so I took it to the mechanic, and it's the power steering pump. So to the tune of $1,000, that has to be fixed. And my rear main seal, that's almost gone. So that's like $2,200. So for $3,200, I have to make the decision of if I'm going to put that into my minivan or if I'm going to go buy something else. And Nate would really prefer that I get something else, something that, we could maybe take on long trips or, drive, maybe an hour up the road with the kids and not worry that we're going to break down. But when I start looking at the options out there, as far as a vehicle that can fit all 6 of us, something that has decent miles, it's still going to be a used vehicle. But I mean, I'm looking at like $20,000, and I think, man, $20,000 would go a long way if Nate were to lose his job. I could pay the bills for quite a while with that. So I'm just going to stick with my van. I'm going to put $3,000 into it. It's probably not even worth $3,000. It's got over 200,000 miles on it, and it's a 2007. But I really just don't want to spend that money right now. I am really trying to make every penny count. And so even though it's not my first choice, and the kids and Nate would love to have something a little nicer to ride around in, and I would love to have a much bigger fridge that held all of my food, we are just going to make do with what we have, and we're going to just keep scrimping and saving and really trying to make things work in the most affordable way possible. It's funny because, the average American doesn't even have $400 in their bank account. And so between just fixing my refrigerator for $100 and the van you're well beyond $400. Even if you didn't feel comfortable enough trying to fix your refrigerator yourself, just the service call for your appliance guy would probably take half of your $400 in your bank account away. So it's so hard. And I think how do you take care of that? I mean, do you just decide that you're not going to pay your electric bill that month, or do you decide you're not going to buy groceries that month? These are all things that, the American household has to take care of. Car insurance has gone way up. My homeowner's insurance has doubled. My car insurance, I can't even believe what I pay in car insurance for 2 old vehicles. Nate's truck, we maybe use it once a month to go get animal feed. And between the two of us, I mean, gosh, we're paying $200 a month for those vehicles. And I barely drive my van. I mean, I might drive it around town occasionally, like taking the kids to their sporting events. And that's just in our local town. And then other than that, I take it to our homeschool co-op once a week. So I'm maybe putting 7,000 miles on that van a year. But yeah, I mean, costs are just astronomical right now, and the economy is just getting worse and worse. I think things are really starting to pick up now as far as, unemployment's kind of hit a point where it typically starts to snowball right now. So it's going to start going up much quicker. Things are getting ever more expensive. I think we're going to hit a time when we look back on today and see today sort of like as a really good point in history compared to what we're going to be facing in the next coming, months or year or so. It's just going to continue to get worse. So I want to encourage you guys, try to really live below your means. I went to Aldi a couple of weeks ago, and one of my kids wanted, it's like a puffed rice snack or something like that. Anyways, we got up to the register and I asked the gal how much it was, and it was $3.99, and I said, no, put that back. I'm not going to pay $3.99 for popcorn, essentially. And the cashier says, oh honey, it's okay, just take it, I'll pay for it. And I think, no, I can pay for it. I'm making the choice not to, And so these are really some of the things that we are really trying to do here. And I know that might sound silly, like a $4 bag of popcorn you don't want to buy your kids. But it's because, I can make that popcorn at home for 25 cents. And I can do things much cheaper. And every little bit that I save is going to mean so much in the future. It's going to mean that, heck, if I have a blowout on my car, I don't have to stress about it. I can purchase a tire if I absolutely have to. If something happens in the house, if we have a leak in the roof or whatever it might be, I can take care of these things without having to worry about where that money's going to come from, or if I have to, not pay a bill that month, or maybe Nate needs to go get some side work. I don't want to have to live like that. So right now we really are living like we are, strapped for cash. And I really encourage you guys to do that too, because we really don't know what's coming. I know it's going to get worse. Credit card debt is at an all-time high. More and more families are in line at the food bank. Just the other day in Walmart, the guy behind me, I complained to the cashier because the salad dressing that I rang up was ringing up at $3.28 and it was $2.94 on the shelf. And she said, oh yeah, it shows that on my side. It shows it at $2.98. You're just seeing the $3.28 price. And he looked at me and I looked at him, and he said, we can't keep living like this. We can't take 4 more years of this. So everybody is feeling it, whether they're admitting it or not. Your bank accounts are getting slimmer. Your bills just keep going up. So anyways, guys, I just want to encourage you that instead of running out to buy something new, try to maybe fix it yourself. YouTube is a great resource. Try to find the cheaper option. Sometimes there's not going to be a cheaper option. I mean, if the engine in your vehicle goes, you may not have another option but to get something else. And that's okay, as long as you have been living well below your means to prepare for something like that comes along. But a lot of these things, like my dishwasher, I could have run out and got a different dishwasher. I could have run out and got a bigger, nicer fridge. But I just don't think that that's what I should be doing right now. And it's funny because, I've started a lot of my fall crops, and I usually start about 300 brassicas. And I just a couple weeks ago started an additional 300. Now, I don't know that I'm gonna need 200 cabbages, but a lot of the things that I'm starting, they will store very, very well. And maybe my community might need those, but I think I'm gonna be happy that we have the opportunity to use that food if we need it, and if we don't, we can share that with other people, and why not? Because I have the growing space. The fall garden is not even close to how big the summer garden is, so I might as well fill my spaces up with food that's gonna provide for us and for others. So just a little food for thought to think about, guys. But anyways, I hope that you all had a better weekend than I did, and I hope that you guys are still preparing and working hard during this season, and just stay motivated and keep on working, guys. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you in the next one.